This Sunday night, Canada's largest Latin festival interrupted by a gunfight. Thousands run for their lives in Toronto as shots are fired.
This is the most abhorrent thing I think I've ever seen.
What we're learning about the victims and the suspects. Extreme weather.
Never seen anything like it.
Canadians contend with flooding, tornadoes, and intense heat. Remembering Republican Lindsey Graham. The senator's sudden death sends shockwaves around the world. And then there were four. After a wild World Cup weekend, the tournament moves to the semifinals.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin in Toronto tonight, where a street festival attended by 13,000 people, including families with children, erupted into a brazen gunfight.
Oh my God.
We were running with the crowd. We heard a bunch of the gunshots. We seen people falling down, tripping over each other.
It happened just after 8 o'clock last night. Police say at least two people exchanged fire while moving through the crowds.
It's really nerve-wracking, it's scary.
This type of gunplay in the middle of this is the most abhorrent thing I think I've ever seen.
Two people were killed and four others injured. It remains unclear tonight if the shooters were among the victims or are still on the loose, though police say there's no ongoing threat to the public. Lexy Benedict reports from the site of a cultural celebration turned crime scene.
This is the scene that remains after a night of celebration quickly turned into a horrific nightmare. Saturday night, amid thousands at Toronto Salsa on St. Clair Festival, gunfire erupted, leaving 2 men dead and 4 others injured. Police say it happened just after 8 p.m., and investigators believe it was an exchange of gunfire between 2 suspects.
This was a very active and chaotic scene. At times, there was some concern of an active shooter.
Police say 2 firearms were recovered at the scene and are investigating 3 crime scenes. They say with about 13,000 people at the festival at the time, it makes it a complex investigation.
I mean, just the brazen, despicable quality of this exchange here, the amount of danger to the members of the public.
4 people remain in hospital with serious injuries. Videos captured the panic as people ran through the festival grounds after the shots rang out. Those who were there at the time say the violence has left them shaken.
I really thought I was going to come out here tonight and have fun, and after I seen a person die, I really don't feel safe to come out here anymore.
We heard it. At first, I thought it was speakers. Then I seen everyone running. I just followed the crowd, ran.
On Saturday, this stretch of St. Clair behind me was packed with thousands celebrating. Now it's a very different scene with police tape and evidence markers as investigators work to piece together exactly what happened here.
When we heard, we were so scared. We said, oh my God, I mean, you don't know what happened, but we could see the whole thing.
Glenda was here earlier in the day, but her son stayed until the shots rang out.
After another 2 calls, try attempts, he answered, Mom, we're okay. We're running. We ran fast.
Now in its 22nd year, Salsa on St. Clair draws tens of thousands of people as Canada's largest Latin festival. Organizers say Sunday's festivities were cancelled as police continue to investigate.
I feel nervous. I feel hurt, scared a little.
Local politicians also speaking out.
I'm deeply disturbed and angry about this reckless, irresponsible act of violence.
Lexy Benedict, Global News.
And there was a second frightening shooting in Toronto overnight. Police say a separate gunfight erupted near a popular waterfront nightclub. Police say one of the gunmen then stole a vehicle from a rideshare driver with its customers still inside. He then allegedly sped off, striking pedestrians as well as other vehicles. 4 people were taken to hospital but are expected to survive, including a Brampton man who now faces several charges. A second suspect is still at large. Well, it's been a wild weekend of weather across this country, particularly in the Prairies. 14 tornadoes have been reported in Saskatchewan since Friday. Well, in Manitoba, the city of Brandon is under a state of emergency because of flooding. Both provinces are also dealing with a stifling heat wave that stretches all the way to Quebec. Melissa Ridgen has the latest.
Oh, there it goes. Touched again.
Rachel Clark captured this Saturday evening outside Glassland, Saskatchewan.
We might actually have to go. There's 2. There's the other one over there. It's hit the ground. Wow! That is so cool. Never seen anything like it. Like, I've never seen a tornado before, but double tornadoes was crazy. And then the hail was just huge.
4 tornadoes were reported in Saskatchewan Saturday, less than 24 hours after tying a single-day record with 10 on Friday. One of the twisters hit Tullabee Lake, Alberta at around 5:30 p.m. before crossing into Saskatchewan. Here's one of the storm systems seen from downtown Saskatoon. From tornadoes to flooding, it's been a rough few days on the prairies. Torrential rain caused flooding in Edmonton, and Brandon has spent more than a week dealing with an overflowing Assiniboine River. Sandbags are protecting the city's main routes. It's expected to crest any time before Wednesday.
Expecting maybe a foot more rise, so that would be about 8 feet total in the last few days.
On top of all the wild weather, a thick blanket of hot, humid air covering Saskatchewan, Manitoba, much of Ontario, and into Quebec. Yellow and orange warnings that 30-degree temperatures could feel like 45 with the humidity, making festival season sweaty.
It's beautiful. We need to come outside and let the sun kiss our forehead.
The weather forecast shows the extreme heat will back off Saskatchewan maybe Monday, but will hang on over Manitoba until midweek. Melissa Ridgen, Global News, Winnipeg.
Wildfires are burning in northern Quebec, sending thick smoke into southern Ontario. Environment Canada ranks the air pollution at 4 out of 10 in Toronto, considered moderate risk, and it's expected to linger as intense heat pushes back into southern Ontario tomorrow. In the U.S., Washington is reeling from the sudden death of one of America's most prominent Republican politicians. Senator Lindsey Graham died last night from a rupture in his arteries, according to his office. He just returned from a trip to Ukraine. The 71-year-old veteran lawmaker was a strong supporter of Kyiv and a close ally to President Trump. Candice Cole reports from Washington.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, one of U.S. President Donald Trump's closest allies, died of aortic dissection due to cardiovascular disease, according to his office, citing the D.C. Medical Examiner. Just a day after his latest visit to Kyiv, where he'd met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky about upping their air defense capabilities.
I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
Upon hearing of Graham's passing, Zelensky called him a true defender of freedom and the values that make our world safer. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday, Trump recalled his last conversation with Graham just hours before he died, saying he sounded, quote, tired but perfect.
I said, we'll see you soon. Come over anytime you want. He came into the White House a lot because I liked him. Can't do that with everybody. He could go in and get something approved. He would just get people on his side. This man was a great politician.
Graham first entered the U.S. Senate in 2002, holding the seat for 24 years after serving as a congressman for South Carolina. He was known for working across party lines and held major influence on foreign affairs, with unflinching support for Ukraine. Though he would become one of Trump's greatest allies in the Senate, Graham was once quite critical of his opponent while on the campaign trail for the presidential race in 2016.
I'm trying to get us the most viable nominee for 2016 that could win without destroying the party. I think Trump destroys the party.
I got to know him during the campaign. He was tough, but he said, I'll see you in South Carolina. I won South Carolina by a lot, and he appreciated it. He respected it. And we sort of got a little bit friendly, and the friendship grew.
Tributes now pouring in from both sides of the aisle.
He was one of the first folks in the Senate to welcome me in with open arms.
I will miss my perhaps most unexpected friend in the Senate, and someone with whom I got some good things done.
A special election to replace Graham on the U.S. Senate is now set for August 11th. Republican South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace has said she does not want to be appointed to fill his seat as interim until a new term starts in January. Jeff?
Candice Cole in Washington, thanks. Ukraine is stepping up its attacks on Russian oil infrastructure, targeting 14 ships and a refinery overnight. Those attacks come one day after Russian strikes on Ukraine that killed at least 8 and injured dozens more. The This video captured the moment a Russian bomb exploded near a coffee shop in the northern city of Sumy. Customers ran for cover and a mother sheltered her child as the explosion hit. The fighting is also intensifying in the Middle East. Late tonight, the U.S. launched its third round of strikes on Iran in the past 24 hours. The White House accuses the regime of attacking commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran says the strait is now closed, while the White House claims the opposite. Vincent McAvini reports on the escalating series of tit-for-tat strikes.
For the third time in a week, U.S. forces completed strikes against Iran overnight Saturday. Jets, missiles and drones struck 140 Iranian military targets, including missile sites, naval bases and communication networks. On Sunday evening, the US reportedly struck again, targeting Qeshm Island. In response, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps launched missiles and drones against US targets in Jordan, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait and Bahrain. On Iranian state TV, they announced once again the closure of the Strait of Hormuz after having fired a naval cruise missile at a Cypriot-flagged vessel. This week's outbreak of tensions, less than a month after the two countries signed a ceasefire memorandum of understanding, was sparked by Tuesday's Iranian attack on 3 commercial tankers, once again halting traffic through the strait. Analysts say the prominence of red flags, a Shiite Muslim symbol for vengeance, during this week's funeral for Ayatollah Khamenei was a signal Iran planned to continue the war.
They have found a weapon that is much safer and more effective than the development of a nuclear weapon. And that is to turn the Straits of Hormuz into literally an ATM machine, but also to use it as a way to gain increased leverage with key Gulf states.
Analysts believe the renewed conflict is a sign that depleted leadership in Iran is deeply divided.
The Iranians need to get their house in order, that the folks that are shooting missiles and drones at ships need to make sure that they're coordinating with the people that are negotiating the peace deal and that they're all on the same page, because my sense is that they're not.
Almost 6 months into this conflict, lasting peace still appears to be distant on the horizon. Vincent McAvini, Global News, London.
Thailand's prime minister confirms at least 27 people have died in a fire at a bar in Bangkok. The blaze at a popular restaurant and music venue broke out just before midnight. Witnesses say the fire started at an electrical switch and spread quickly. Several victims were taken to hospital and many others remain missing. And take a look at this storm surge in eastern China caused by Typhoon Bavi slamming against the windows of this hotel. Bavi prompted mass evacuations of more than 2 million people across several cities, including Shanghai and Beijing. It has now weakened to a tropical storm. Mixing pancakes and politics coming up. What was the reception like for the Prime Minister on the final day of the Calgary Stampede? Well, it's the final day of the Calgary Stampede, and this year's event is tracking to be one of the most attended of all time. Among the crowds, a growing number of politicians trading their suits for Stetsons, including the Prime Minister. Mark Carney's visit comes against the backdrop of Alberta's looming separatist threat. Skylar Peters reports.
It's Sunday at the Calgary Stampede, day 10 of 10, and just in the nick of time, the Prime Minister is paying a visit. Most of the hundreds of people lined up for a community pancake breakfast were unaware who was about to show up.
The Prime Minister complimented you on your hat, right? He said you had a nice hat.
He's got his first little rodeo hat on. Now he gets to meet the Prime Minister, so that's pretty sweet.
He's obviously very excited as well.
One expert says Stampede has always brought out politicians, but says there's also no doubt there's more of them around this year.
They recognize there's an opportunity here to discuss things with political figures at different levels and to engage in that very important discussion about Alberta's place in Canada.
Once the dust settles, more than 1.4 million people are expected to have visited the grounds.
It's truly based on civility and kindness and respectful discourse. And so we take great pride in bringing people together.
It's a rare chance to get up close and personal with these officials. No podium in front of them, no script in hand.
But when you're standing beside you, doing what I do, it's totally down-to-earth experience, and it was great.
Like, he's a real person, right? So at the end of the day, we're all the same
No matter the level of government or party banner, the event draws them all, bridging the gap between cities, provinces, and parliament.
Use those personal one-on-one conversations, the connections that get made, can't be done other than in social settings.
And sometimes they might even let their hair down.
I won't out my Conservative MP colleagues who I've been chatting with over the time, but we're all buds during this time.
For now, it's back to the office until the show starts again next year. Skylar Peters, Global News.
Still ahead, this Canadian tennis star tries for her first Wimbledon title and receives a royal shout-out. Statistics Canada appears to be facing some headwinds when it comes to public trust and reliability. According to internal government polling obtained by Global News, a significant number of Canadians do not trust the data collection agency to protect their personal information or believe it operates independently from political influence. David Aiken explains.
You put return to sender, and you put you liberals. Give it to Ukraine. That's where my tax dollars go anyway.
It was a minor trend during this year's census, an angry online campaign against the census and the government. Perhaps anticipating that backlash, Statistics Canada put a poll in the field last fall to see where it stood with Canadians.
Canadians have more trust in national institutions than almost any other country among advanced economies. And so Canada's actually doing pretty well in that regard. But it's not something we want to take for granted either.
Indeed, barely half of those surveyed, or 49.6%, believed Statistics Canada operates independently of political influence, while 25.1% did not believe that. And while nearly 60% trust StatsCan to protect the privacy of personal data it collects through the census and other surveys, nearly 20% did not.
This is not a new phenomenon. It's a phenomenon that has been going on as trust towards institutions has been eroding over years.
But that erosion of trust means response rates to StatsCan surveys have fallen. And that in turn means reliability of the data it publishes is not what it once was. Economists at Desjardins Group recently assessed the quality of data from StatsCan and other countries' data agencies and found a global trend of declining data quality post-pandemic.
It's a real challenge to get people to pick up the phone, to speak to someone on the other line. And also the underlying population data is swinging all over the place.
And yet the Carney government is, in some ways, making things more challenging here in Canada because of its government-wide belt-tightening to cut staff and expenses.
Just cutting the budget without thinking of what we want as outcomes as a country when it comes to data that's going to support business decisions, fiscal policy decisions, monetary policy decisions, I think is the real issue.
StatsCan believes it can be more efficient in the way it collects and processes data, but it has been ordered to cut its budget by nearly $340 million over the next 4 years. Jeff.
David Aiken in Ottawa. Thanks, David. Canadian tennis star Gabriela Dabrowski received a royal welcome ahead of her doubles final at Wimbledon. Princess Kate greeted Dabrowski and her doubles partner on Saturday, calling her an inspiration for returning to pro tennis after being treated for breast cancer in 2024. Kate herself was diagnosed with cancer that same year. Dabrowski lost the Wimbledon final today, but her tennis comeback has been remarkable, winning a doubles title at last year's U.S. Open and later reaching a career high of second in the world in women's doubles. And we end tonight in Halifax, where people of all ages were reaching for the skies. The annual Atlantic Kite Festival took flight today, billed as a celebration of culture, imagination, and the simple joy of flying a kite. That is Global National for this Sunday. Thanks for watching. Donna will be back with you tomorrow. Have a great night.